the threefold craving. There is the sensual craving, the craving for eternal annihilation, existence, the craving for self-annihilation, the craving for eternal existence, according to the Suddhi Magga, is intimately connected with the so-called eternity belief, i.e. the belief in an absolute eternal ego entity persisting independently of our body. The craving for self-annihilation is the outcome of the so-called annihilation belief, the delusive materialistic notion of an ego which is annihilated at death and which does not stand in any causal relation with the time before birth or after death. But where does this craving arise and take root? Wherever in the world there are delightful and pleasurable things, there is this craving that arises and takes root. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind are delightful and pleasurable. Possibly, mostly, maybe. There is this craving that arises and takes root. Visual objects, sounds, smells, tastes, bodily impressions, and mind objects are delightful and pleasurable. There, this craving arises and takes root. Consciousness, sense impression, feeling born of sense impression, perception, will, craving, thinking, and reflecting are delightful and pleasurable. There, this craving arises and takes root. If namely, when perceiving a visual object, a sound, odor, taste, bodily impression, or a mind object, the object is pleasant, one is attracted. And if unpleasant, one is repelled. Thus, whatever kind of feeling one experiences, pleasant, unpleasant, or indifferent, one approves of and cherishes the feeling and clings to it. And while doing so, lust springs up, but lust for feelings means clinging, and on clinging depends the process of becoming. On the process of becoming, karma process, depends future, birth, and dependent on birth are decay and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Thus arises this whole mass of suffering. This is called the noble truth of the origin of suffering. So yeah, when you think of this life as it, and you're like, well, what before me doesn't matter, what after me doesn't matter, it's about here, and that I'm not because of that, or it's not going to be because of me, or that sort of thing. It's the sort of thinking of what we have nowadays. These if it's not Christian end times thinking, it's atheistic end times thinking that global warming is going to kill us all and all this stuff. It's like, well, you know, there can be issues with pollution or whatever, but you know, people want it to be about their lifetime. They want it to happen in their lifetime, just so they can say that they were right and said it first, or some, you know,